I love animation. I love animation. I grew up, let's see. I was born in 1996, which was actually the tail end of Disney's Renaissance. Let me actually show you guys. I even prepared a little bit of a thing here. Oop, what is that? What'd I click? There we go. Nope. Still wrong. The Disney Renaissance. So that is like right when I was born. So as a kid, like on VHS, that was the movies I grew up with. Then, as I'm growing up and getting a little older, you enter the golden age of Pixar. So that is like right as I'm a kid. That is what I'm experiencing in the world of animation. You know, you have Shrek that came out, and then, yeah, I grew up with all of these golden age Pixar movies, especially WALL-E was my absolute favorite growing up. As I, was later in high school into college, I became obsessed with Studio Ghibli films, Miyazaki. This is my favorite film, famously, Princess Mononoke, my favorite film of all time. So really, animation has played an incredibly big role in my life, is the point I'm trying to make here. So when I went to university, I actually went for animation. And that is where I met my editor, Brian. We met in college and we instantly hit it off, became best friends because we're both obsessed with Super Smash Bros. Melee. And yeah, a few years ago, when my YouTube channel was beginning to pick up in views, Brian basically reached out, asked me if I needed some help, and I was like, dude, come help me animate stuff. And so ever since then, we have been doing more and more animations in the YouTube videos. Here's an example of a 2D animation we recently did, just to show you a little bit like what I'm talking about here. So this was my video. I built a dragon egg monument in my forever world. So this is pretty fun. This is using a technique called rotoscoping, where you trace something happening. So yeah, bam. Super duper cool, right? So that is a 2D animation that Brian and I planned out together. Today, what I mostly want to talk about is the Blender animations in my videos, because a lot of people have been asking me, how do you do this? So here's an example from my recent Minecraft Build and Seek video. I absolutely love this shot. He killed it. Super atmospheric. You got the little snow particles, you got the clouds. So this terrain, all the candy canes and stuff, this was a totally different world. We kind of just pasted the different assets in to create this little scene here. See, that's the actual build there. So we kind of just took that and plopped it into Blender, into this little environment here. So super fun, right? A lot of people, more and more people lately are just like asking me, how do we go about making these? And so I wanted to sort of give you guys a little bit of an insight. And the first step when it comes to making these animations is to storyboard. Basically, what we do is we do these things called thumbnail sketches. And so here is a example of a storyboard that we did for the recent SOS movie. So we knew that we wanted a shot of me entering a movie theater, going to sit down as there was a countdown from like 3, 2, 1, you know, the old-timey sort of film countdown. And then we wanted my character to sort of get sucked up into the air as like a portal appeared on the movie theater screen. And then as my character gets pulled into the movie theater screen, there's a zoom in on the screen and it sort of transitions into the next shot, right? So that was our storyboard. That's the first step to making one of these animations. The next step after that is to actually build the set. And so that's where I usually work with Robella on building a lot of these sets. Robella and I are gonna hop into creative mode and see what we can do to get that theater going. Oh my God, these two are so creepy. I forgot they were here. Oh God, I hate when they do that. So this is where I build a lot of the sets for my videos. This is like the Wandy T wedding. We've got the plane crash. So many cool sets from different videos.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Very good, very good. Would you like to build a theater with me?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So I think the first thing to do is get like a reference image. So movie theater. No, I'm not looking for a real movie theater, Google. Okay, I hate that all of these images are like, it knows where I am. It's showing me like, okay, hold on. Movie theater incognito mode. It's still just showing me movie theaters in Austin, Texas. I want like stock images. I like this. I like the little archways with the red and the yellow.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
That's kind of nice. And it's simple. The second image I found was pretty bad, but it just shows the exact angle that this shot is going to be taken from. So what I want to start with is if we actually do the screen first, it should set the scaling for us because we can do a screen that's actually 16 by 9. And because we made this 16 by 9, it should be the exact ratio of a 1920 by 1080 video. Is the theater for the talent show? The theater is for a random Blender shot for the SOS movie that is coming out in like a week. So now I guess the question is carpet, right? I almost think glazed terracotta, like maybe we do a pattern with the red.
Yeah.
Like that looks so movie theater carpet to me. I don't know about you, but like that just
No, it does.
That screams movie theater carpet. And the cool thing is, I believe this is actually an even build because it's 16 wide. Yeah. So that actually just works out without us having to do anything. So the question is, do we want to do this boring little circle pattern or come up with something a little more fancy? Because we could do
alternating.
Yeah, alternating's kind of cool. Like black circle, red circle, like this. That's actually kind of sick.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then we could do like a checkerboard with it. So we copy that. Oh, actually, I love that. That's so dope. Okay. Perfect. All right, there's our movie theater carpet. All right. The hardest part, in my opinion, is going to be the slope. Like, I really don't know how to tackle that.
The slope?
Yeah, because we want this to go up. You know what I mean? Like, probably if you're at the top, if you're in the...
Yeah, I feel like we should go, like, Alamo with it, where, like...
there's big steps. Yeah.
Like, there's, like, Blackstone stairs, and then, like, we can stack this up.
The question is, should we add some sort of, like, mangrove, like, door or, like, trapdoor to the back to make them... That's probably too tall. Well, what we could do instead is these. That way you have them on both sides, and then just the sign on the other end. And that,
yeah, I do like that,
the end seats look a little weird, but at least all the middle ones match. Yeah, actually, that looks really good. If you just kind of like squint your eyes, you can't even like really tell that there's anything up with the end ones. Oh, look at you!
Put the movie on!
Dude!
Put the movie on! I've got my popcorn.
What? Oh my god, how did you do that?
Head database.
It's a player head? That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Usually I feel like there's emergency exits right here. Like right where I'm standing, basically.
Yeah.
So I feel like our emergency exits... Well, we should probably do it like that. I feel like our emergency exit should go right there. I wonder if you have like a exit player sign that we could...
Let me see if there's one that just says exit. Oh, yeah. This is cute, actually.
Use a pale sign. Unfortunately, the creative server isn't on 1.21.4 yet. Oh my god, that's so good, dude. Dude, that's so sick. Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
So now, from this point on, I feel like every like 2 circles we go up 1. So in other words, every 4 blocks. Is there just 1 row of seats, or is there 2 rows of seats per level? What do you think?
Probably 2.
Probably 2, yeah. So then the question is, how many times do we do this? Probably like
maybe like
4?
4?
Yeah, I was gonna say 2
two
more times, basically.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
So we'll slide this back, up 1, slide it back. Bam. That's like the shape of our theater right there. Right?
Nice.
Could you add some banners under the seats as cushions for extra detail? How would that work? Oh, you'd probably need some armor stand trickery, right?
No, you can do it like here.
Oh, wait. This banners on the back of the seats kind of looks nice, actually.
See?
Oh, whoa. That is kind of cool. I wonder if we could come up with a good banner design to use. Although, to be honest, it might not be worth it only because I don't know if that'll go into Blender.
Yeah,
I think Brian might have to redo it anyways.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just for now, I'm gonna put some red terracotta, I think, as the walls, and then we will go ahead and like texture it and change it. But I just need like I need something to go off. Bam. What if we did like, oops. What if we did like trapdoors going up? I feel like they always have these, like, just vertical dividers. I think they are for soundproofing, as one of the chatters was saying.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? This is starting to come together. We also need the speakers on the wall, and I feel like you gotta have Wither Skulls, right? I mean, I guess we could use, like, more creative player head choice. But I do feel like Witherhead is kind of a classic. You know what I mean? Like, boop,
yeah.
boop, boop, boop. That does look pretty good. It does look like the little speakers that they have. Dude, how do you build so effortlessly? I mean, I think it's just a lot of reference, you know? Just like, and starting with things that make sense to start with. So with this, we started with the screen here. And why? Well, because in order for this to be perfect size for a YouTube video, we needed it to be 9 by 16 blocks. Which actually works out, because it's like kind of a perfect movie theater screen scale by itself. But then that movie screen, once we had that, we could sort of go, okay, so what goes next to the movie screen? Well, usually it's just black. And then they have a couple curtains, and then we just kind of go from there.
I think getting started is the hardest part, but if you just like start with, like you said, something simple like the screen,
100%.
Gives you a sense of scale.
And then the last part of this is that right here would be like the entrance into the theater, I believe. Is there like any sort of thing we should do here, you think? Like do this or something, you know?
Yeah, that looks okay.
Haha, we threw that together so fast, man. How long did that take? 20 minutes? Let's freaking go.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
I mean, the only thing, and this might be too, like, fiddly, we might be getting too detailed, is just, like, some sort of apparatus to... Oop, did not mean to do that. Stop it. Stop it. You gotta... A big part of building, chat, is knowing when to call it quits. Knowing when you're about to get into over-detailed territory. Because there is a point where, especially when you're building for realism, like, there is a point where you just get distracted by, like, too much going on. I feel like we are right in that pocket right now. We're perfect.
Wow, it is kind of crazy sitting in the front. Like, you do have to, like, crane your neck up to look at this. It's very accurate.
It's so accurate, right? It's just like these are the worst seats to have. And, like, this is exactly the perspective. Did you ever see the Interstellar memes? Or, no, sorry, not the memes about Oppenheimer? Where it's like...
because when we went, remember, we were sitting, like, off to the side, and it was so weird.
Yeah.
Like, we did see it. It was so goofy, and we had to move seats.
I found it. Hold on. I'm going to show my stream. This is actually the experience I had watching Oppenheimer. This is literally how it looked when I watched Oppenheimer. Oh, my God. It was actually probably this one's more accurate if I'm being fair. If I'm being totally fair, it was probably more like this. It actually looked like this. It was so funny, dude. Everybody was so distorted because I was like, we got terrible seats because it was IMAX and like we bought it the last minute. That is literally, we built this accurate, dude. So I think we're going to say goodbye to Robella. Thank you for helping us out. That was really fun. The stream loves you, Robella.
Love you guys.
And yeah, hopefully you guys will see the movie theater in my very next video that I'm going to be putting out, the SOS movie. So I hope you guys like that. So the next step after that was to take this set and bring it into Blender and then start to animate it. So I'm going to actually call up my editor right now, and I will show you guys exactly how we go about doing that. So let me give him a call.
Yo, what's up?
Yo! I have just gone over the storyboarding process with chat, and then we looked at how Robella and I built the actual set for the movie. So then the next step is bringing it into Blender.
Okay. Usually I get the set from Mog after he's done building a Robella. So this is the theater that I'm gonna be working with, and so I take this entire build, and then I would import it into Blender. So Blender has like there's this Minecraft add-on that lets you import builds into Blender. So then this is basically what it looks like.
So is that built in, or is that like a plugin basically?
It's a plugin. You gotta download it somewhere.
Gotcha.
So essentially, once I get it, there's a few things I need to do. So there's some like cleanup. This is what it technically looks like. when I put it into Blender for the first time. A few things you're gonna notice. If you look in the Blender scene, you can see how like the textures look super blurry, right? It's the interpolation. So
Yep.
I have to like manually set it to closest so it gets that like, classic Minecraft look.
The real sharp edges. Yep.
Yeah, so I have to do a lot of cleaning up, making sure that looks good. Another thing is sometimes the textures that are imported are incorrect. Like if you look at this pumpkin head.
Oh, what the heck? Okay, so those were the
Yeah.
wither skulls we used for the speakers. Okay.
Yeah. So I have to manually go in and fix all the textures, replace everything. It's kind of annoying, but it's just part of the process.
So how do you do that?
Um,
Like, how do you get the texture for the wither skull to replace that?
So I just go on the same database that Robella uses. I can download the textures as a PNG, and that lives in like the asset library, and I just pull from there.
Got it. Got it.
And no, I take the PNG. So this texture here,
Yep.
and I have to like manually fix them all. So like if you look, each of these faces corresponds to like the side of a texture.
Got it. Got it. So you have to like
Yeah, I have to,
actually line it up.
And the next thing is putting in the characters, right? This Blender software also allows me to import character models, like they have their own built-in rigs and whatnot. The only real thing you would need to do is retexture everybody.
Got it. And when you say
Is
built-in
everyone-
rigs, so like a rig is basically like the skeleton for the player model.
Yeah.
So like you can just basically grab like its hand and move its hand and like pose it like it's one of those like drawing wooden figurines almost.
Yep. So if I were to import a player mob, put in a simple player, and if you look, it's Steve.
Okay, got it. Got it.
What I have to do is just essentially swap out the texture, and I'll have like whoever is going to be here.
And so you can just like pose that however you want basically.
Yeah, I can control the limbs.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Cool.
Hello. So after I like get all the actors in, all the SOS people and you, the next key thing I would be doing is like the actual animation.
Okay.
So first thing I would do is animate the camera because I need to at least kind of get an idea of how the shot's going to go. And we worked out through storyboarding that basically the camera is going to, zoom forward a bit, and then towards the end, it's going to get sucked into this like black hole portal thing.
All right, so that's kind of cool. So the left side of your screen is the camera's perspective, and then the right side of your screen is just like almost like free cam. You're just flying around, going wherever you want. So you can actually see the camera moving on the right side. Got it.
So once I get the camera animated, the next thing would be
Well, before you get into animating the characters, I noticed like I have the popcorn and the drink there. So like, what's the process? Because those aren't like actual in-game items.
True.
So like, what's
Yeah.
the process behind those?
So that's all custom made in Blockbench. So
Okay.
there are certain things where I would like to have like certain objects. Typically, I would want to use actual Minecraft things, but in this case, it's kind of like, how do you get a popcorn shape looking block? I
Right.
don't think there's really one that exists. So at that point, I'm like forced to create my own. So this is where I use a program called Blockbench. This is like the official quote me if I'm wrong, but it's like the official Mojang like 3D program.
No, you're
It's like what
exactly
they
right.
use in-house.
I'm pretty sure this
Okay.
is actually what they use in-house now to make all their new mobs, blocks, everything.
So I have to like model this myself and texture it myself. So once I make all these, I can import them back into Blender, as you can see here.
And they're just like basically objects like anything else. That's so cool.
Yeah, they exist. Yeah. So after that, modeling the popcorn, you're gonna notice that there are like actually, you can see that they're like pieces of individual popcorns.
Little cubes, yeah.
These are actually just Blender cubes that I've turned into like a particle simulation. The reason I did that because I knew like later in the shot we would want the popcorn to kind of explode because he's flying in midair, right? And the only way to do that like reasonably is to just simulate it.
Right. So those actually, instead of you having to animate literally every single individual popcorn kernel. They actually just have real physics applied to them and are just reacting to the other objects in the scene how they realistically would, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then next would be probably the most interesting thing for like any animator, which is the actual animation.
The
So
characters, yep.
yeah, so a lot of like when I animate characters, I kind of workshop it in my head, and then I manually act it out like myself. I would like walk on like some stairs and then like do a right turn here. I would just like mimic exactly what Mogswamp's doing here, so I can get an understanding of how to like time things, how to like when to move my legs. Like if I'm raising my arm, what's my like other arm doing? Like what's my torso doing?
Yep.
It's just so much easier to have a reference. Like you can like film yourself. I prefer to just act it out. The thing with animation is, especially humans, people are so used to people like have an expectation of how they move because you see people every day.
Yep.
So when things look off, it's like they immediately tell.
Yeah.
Right.
Uncanny Valley, right?
I'm gonna go over to the animation page. There's like a whole different tab for this. So this is what Mogswamp looks like through keyframes. All these tabs are like they control a different part of the skeleton here.
Got it. So each
like,
each
leg.
row on that timeline is one specific part of my body.
Yeah. And this is like really hard to explain the timings. It's just literally I just went by feel. So I can't really like explain why I did animate on 2s or 3s, why I did it for like 5 frames.
So you're basically setting up poses, right? And then the animation software is doing all the in-betweening for you, right? So like you hit like you pose Mogswamp doing a certain pose, then you go forward a little bit, have me in a different pose, and then more or less the blender is just interpolating everything that happens in between that for you, and then you just make adjustments as needed, right?
Yeah. Only for the really complicated ones, I would have to do like animate on 2s to get like what I want. Hey, it's me. Steve. I guess one thing I can go over is like, where did I even start, right? So the first thing I did was the walk cycle. That's like the easiest thing. And with Blender, I can like turn. It's just basically like a loop here. 31 frames is the entire walk cycle, and it's just basically repeating over and over again.
Got it.
And Blender allows me to like turn that into like an action, which can be looped over and over again. That way you don't have to like keep doing it.
So are you just
like,
kind of like, is my character basically just swinging his legs and then you're moving the position on the whole character to simulate walking?
Yep. Exactly, yeah.
Got it. So like
basically it.
If you hadn't like animated the entire character moving, then that loop would literally just be me standing still but swinging my legs as if I was walking.
Yep.
So you have to sort of match the speed of moving my character to how it looks as the character's swinging the legs, or else you'll sort of get like a Michael Jackson moonwalk situation where the footsteps aren't really matching the forward movement. And that's like actually a really common animation pitfall when doing walk cycles. Is if you don't match the speed of the character moving to the walk cycle really precisely, you just get this weird thing where it kind of feels like the character's just floating above the ground in a way.
That's like a lot of fine tuning. So I like basically mapped out his like path, how fast he was gonna fly up, and then when he gets pulled into the screen. And then after that, I would go back and kind of like modify like, okay, so now he's turning. I have to like rotate the body. I have to rotate the torso. I have to move the arms and whatnot. Your head's gonna shake. The popcorn's gonna drop. All this. Also, the crowd's gonna react. A lot of like I'm trying to keep it as natural as possible. So like, I want everything to be like full of life, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. The next thing I would focus on is once I like how everything looks, how everything feels. The next thing would be to, light the scene.
The lighting.
You know, without light, it is a dark scene. You know, you can't see anybody. So a lot of the things I want to focus on is lighting our subjects, like lighting the background and whatnot. So you can see without lights, this is Mogswamp. You can't see him.
Pitch black. Yep.
Pretty dark. Yep. So first thing I would do is get a rim light, kind of see behind you. I can get like an idea like, oh, this is your head.
Yep.
It's not like the best because you're kind of in a odd spot, but this is like the best I could do.
Yeah.
And then I do a key light here, and behind you is the
That's
fill
actually
light.
you can really tell about
It's more the key
the rim
light,
light there as
actually.
well. Like you can super see the rim light right in this frame.
Yeah, I think lighting is probably the hardest part for me. There's so much; it's so subjective to like what looks good.
Yeah.
The next thing, I'm kind of brushing over it real quick, but the next thing I did was once I got the lighting to where I wanted it, I would focus on this section here. So this is all like composited in. There's like actually nothing here.
It's just a hole. Basically.
Just a hole.
Yep.
Yep. So the idea was to green screen it, but I decided to like just bring it all into Blender, just to make it more interactable, like part of the space.
Yep.
So this like projector here is literally just like it's like a plane. It's like flat. It's not really there.
So cool. So it's just like a 2D
Yeah.
object sitting in front of the screen. Yep.
Yep. So I made this in After Effects, this portal. It's like a bunch of displacement maps and whatnot.
Yep.
And I made it transparent. And then I just brought it into Blender. So like I can just interact with it, do it how I want.
And then it's really interesting to me how the aura around me, if you look on the left side, it looks so much like it's actually around me and like actually enveloping my character when really it's just, again, a flat plane right behind. So like I think that's like the sort of stuff I think a lot of people don't think about, is that a lot of these animation shots actually only work from one angle, which is why it's so important, as you were saying, to start with the camera.
That's essentially the scene. So once I'm like happy with everything, composited everything, put it all together, animation looks pretty good. This is where getting ready for the rendering stage. This is the post-processing for me. This is where we go into the compositing section. So this is also very very complicated. But essentially what this is, it's basically taking your render and making it look pretty for the masses. So this is a render as is without any compositing, any like color correction, color grading, and whatnot, right?
A little bit flat.
Yep, it's flat. Like this is, it's you could like make a video. You
Yeah,
don't have to,
it
like,
would
do all
definitely pass.
if you do all this, all this node stuff here, it's like a bunch of things like adding like atmosphere, adding like fog, adding some like glare, some glow, just some grain, some film emulation, all that stuff. It'll turn from like this kind of like basic shot into something that's a little more dynamic.
Dang.
This is like, I think, really crucial to making your shot look like fully, ready to like, what's the word? Like it's like a finished, polished look, right? It's like the polishing stage of the animation.
Right.
So once I do all that, I render as a PNG sequence, and then I'll bring it into Premiere. This is where we do all the sound design.
Yeah, so that was a piece of this I really was excited to get to, is like once, we have the storyboarding, we have the set building, we bring it into Blender, we do all the animation, all that stuff, we render it. You'd think we're done, but I've found one of the things that sells animation more than anything else is the sound design. I think it's like the most overlooked piece of the puzzle. Here, let me play the actual shot from the video on mute real quick. That'll be helpful. So here's the full shot from the video. So here it is on mute. You got the countdown. I'm going shuffling in, finding my seat. The glitch happens, and then we zoom in. So it's good. It's a really, really good shot. Here is that same animation again. I'm gonna boost the volume for you guys.
If you clicked on this video, prepare for a cinematic journey. Almost exactly 1 year.
Dang, dude, that really sells it, man. And I love that you snuck the Wilhelm scream in there. Such a classic.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's what I do for animation.
Guys, if you enjoyed that, please put a W in the chat for Brian. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to show us that. That was freaking awesome, man. And yeah,
No problem.
Thank you guys for if you're watching the Mogswamp video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.